Welcome to Tangential Soup. This is a weekly podcast talking about life in Australia, tech, fitness, game development, food, and other related things with myself, David Caddy, an independent developer, and my good friend, karate champion, Alexander Carr. This week we talk about new emoji, email and productivity, and ever-evolving technology. Didn't work again?
No, I didn't. I was actually going to check some of my emails and I forgot. So,
probably for the best. I'm sure there was nothing important there.
yeah. Really what I should be doing is try to get into work a lot earlier. Sorry.
I always think that too. Because Bosch has flexible hours, I often get there like 9:30, 10 o'clock. But then I have to stay back because of that.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's it. I mean, I feel like I get in at my time, which is 9 o'clock, but I never leave at 5, which is my departing time.
Is that because people just keep coming to you with things?
Yeah, it's really what you've been talking about recently. It's the fact that I'm distracted all the time.
Yeah.
Because I'm sitting at my desk and people come and ask me questions. And, obviously I'm able to deal with all the stuff that comes to me during the day. That comes to me verbally. If people come to me, I'll be able to sort it out. But then, my inbox will just pile up and I'll get things that aren't easy tasks in my inbox. Like they're things that I can do, but things that I can not easily do or I need help doing or, something like that. So those are the kind of things that just tend to sit in there until I actually, the other day I think I stayed back until 7:30 and then, I cleared out several things that had just been sitting in there. I just hadn't had time to do.
So you're talking about email here, aren't you?
I'm talking about emails, yeah, but also things that pop up on my desk as well.
In the book that I was listening to about deep work, they said you've got to try to make people who send you email do more work.
Okay.
As one of the strategies. So, not that this probably really applies to anyone working in a company, but they suggested if you have unsolicited email from people, like if you're somewhat well known, then you should have like a filtering system on however they contact you. And he mentioned a lot of different examples where you have to like fill out a questionnaire or you have to go through like a FAQ sort of section to check whether your question has already been answered. But then more probably applicable for us, they suggested, because a lot of the time people will ask you vague or open-ended questions. And like say thoughts on this particular subject.
Yeah.
And even if that's valid, often what you want to do in that case is go, I'm not sure, I'll check back with you. Or, you want to buy yourself some time and then you've just answered them, but then you've still got more work.
Yes.
So if you are going to have to do work on it, what you should do is do the work before you email them. Say someone wants to meet with you to discuss something.
Yep.
Then they'll say, I'd like to meet with you. Is there a time free? As opposed to saying, sort of have a back and forth about when you're going to meet, what you're going to do. You just send them like 3-4 times. You say, if any of these are good for you, tell me which one, and then I'll take that as like confirmation. So then you don't have to reply to that. Otherwise, call me and we'll hash it out.
Right, okay.
It's all about minimizing the amount of time that anything takes.
Okay, I like it actually. That's a very good.
And if it's vague and doesn't super concern you, just literally ignore it.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's good actually. I think my manager at work is pretty good at that. Because I'm still obviously newish to my job, so I'll sometimes get her to help me with more complicated things, and and they might build up throughout the week, and then I'll ask her one night if she can just help me out for half an hour just with some things I just don't have any idea of what to do. And, by the end of it, usually I'll get my inbox cleared out because she'll just say, okay, well, this isn't actually you. It's these people. Just send it on to them. This is these people. This, you don't have to worry about it. This, just go back and say you need more information because I don't understand it either.
Yeah.
It's a good skill to have. And I think I'm picking it up. But at the same time, a lot of what you're saying is actually very good. And I think I tend to pick up or accept work that isn't actually my work.
Yes, and people pick up on that, right? So
Yeah.
if you are helpful in one situation, then all of a sudden you're the go-to person if that particular situation comes up again for this other person.
Yeah.
Whereas if you ignore it or bounce it straight back to them, say, no, sorry, I can't help you, then they won't ask you again next time, right? So then not only have you eliminated present work, you've eliminated some amount of future work.
No, you're right, actually. You are right.
Mm.
It's good for you. But I tend to feel that like in a corporate environment, that can be a bit detrimental sometimes because, if you don't have people to go to, sometimes it's very difficult to solve things. Whereas, you might, through your area, get some work that's actually not really your work, it's somebody else's, but because they haven't made themselves open to help you, and you're not really sure that it's theirs, it makes it difficult to approach them and ask.
Mm. No, it is tricky, but it seems like the culture around companies is sort of to have everyone available to ask questions all the time. And so many times people even just CC people for like no reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
And then, okay, you haven't had to do anything maybe in that case, but you've still had to read it and you've used some amount of mental load processing that and making the decision, oh, you don't have to do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that it still takes time and still effort.
Yeah, no.
And it's unfortunate that that's the way it works. I don't know about your work, but we have like a Skype system for instant messaging.
Yeah, we do too.
And the computers, automatically log in and make you available. So if you're on your computer and you're logged in, then you're like available to anyone in the Bosch network worldwide.
Yeah.
Now, granted, people are mostly pretty good about not asking you unless they really need something specific to you. But that's not always the case. And it's like immediate, like right in your face. It flashes up in the corner, so-and-so is talking to you.
Yeah.
And you could have just been deep working in something, and now your focus has gone away. And obviously there's some amount of momentum that comes with focus, and that's just been stolen from you. So overall, you're less productive.
I have a question about that. Do you know, I'm pretty sure, you see, I never set my status for Skype, but I'm pretty sure that you can set yourself to Do Not Disturb.
No, you can, but if it's anything like mine, that only like sticks around until the next time you log in or sort of do something.
Yeah, right, I'm with you.
So, yes, you can, and if you're diligent about that, sure, that's probably a good thing to do. Or maybe you can just, because I think it also works off your calendar. So I suppose you could block off a section of time saying you're in a meeting when you're actually not.
Yeah.
A meeting with yourself. And maybe that is a good idea to do. But by default, that's not how they want you to roll.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting. And look, I understand that, but I feel like I don't need all day for that, but I definitely need to. My manager's actually started blocking sections out of her calendar where she just schedules a meeting with herself so that she can't be, so that nobody will try and book with her during that time period.
Mm.
Which is honestly what you need to do sometimes.
Yes.
Especially if you're too helpful.
It's a danger of being too helpful because, like I said, people keep coming back to you.
Yeah.
And it's not to say you want to be unhelpful either, but if you've got half the department coming to you asking you for help on certain things, even if they're only small tasks, all of a sudden you have no time to do your own work.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right about that. Funny how these things work, isn't it?
I'm not so bad, but one of the guys I work with, he's like, he knows so much about everything, which is great, but that just means everyone asks him about everything. And, he can usually help them, and he's usually happy to help. But he also is working on really complicated things, and so that just slows everything to a crawl.
Yeah.
On some of these really important tasks.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, okay. I mean, probably organizationally, he's still contributing just as much. But then if you look at like his key indicators on what he's meant to be working on, he's doing very little. So then, that's really unfortunate situation to put someone in.
Well, do you know what I think a lot of companies do? They have subject matter experts. So they're actually specific people that you can go to for specific queries. And I mean, because I think this is recognized, the fact that, if you do have someone who is talented or who knows a lot in a certain area, they will just be bombarded with queries from people who don't work in the area, or who know a little less. And I think that's where a subject matter expert comes in. So you have people that are actually subject matter experts on certain subjects, and then they're the go-to people for those specific queries. So then I guess they're always getting queries that they can quite easily answer. Well, hopefully quite easily answer, without being bombarded with random questions that they may not be able to answer. And that's possibly taken into account with their workload and job as well.
Yes. But that needs to go through a filter system to work, right? And that's hard, especially in the current climate of having like open offices and like everyone in the department walking past this particular person. And they'll quite often stop and just say, hey, do you have any experience in X, Y, Z?
Yeah. No, I know what you mean.
Another thing the book spoke about was really trying to focus. Well, the whole thing is about focusing deeply on your work. But they said, really, even at the height of your powers, you can really only do about 4 hours of deep work. But then more strategies around trying to get that time. So they suggested maybe going offline for 3/4 of an hour out of each hour, and then only being online for 15 minutes. And then instead of having emails pop up, only checking that like maybe twice a day. And then they suggested having like at the start of the day, spend 5 minutes sort of blocking out roughly in hour increments what you're going to be working on. And that's not to say you have to exactly follow the plan, but just so at any given moment you know what you should be working on, so you don't have the extra mental load of going, what is the thing that I should be doing now?
That's actually such a good idea. Maybe I should just close my emails. Because I always have them open. They're always popping up. But you're right.
And there seems to be an expectation around, replying as quickly as possible to things. But really, if it takes 3 hours a day even versus 10 minutes, in 99% of cases, that is not going to make any difference.
Yeah.
It's just making your life harder.
Yeah. You're right.
Because it keeps taking your focus away.
Wow, you're so right. I'm gonna try that tomorrow. I'm gonna go into work. I'll check my emails in the morning. I might not do it in 4 hour increments, but I might just open them every couple of hours and check them.
Yep.
Wow, such a good idea.
Yeah, no, I think you should read that book or listen to it. It's got some interesting ideas in it.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely will. You sent me the details of it. I think, it's something that's certainly come to my attention. I mean, I don't really think before now I've ever been in a position where
it's really mattered.
Where I don't have enough time.
Yeah.
I feel that if I've utilized my time correctly in the past, I've always had enough time, but now I feel like I actually don't have enough time. And I think for me, it comes down to several things, like perhaps delegation is something that I've got to work on. But also getting distracted is a big thing for me too. One of your articles that did really stick with me was an article titled "What's New in Unicode?" published on the 20th of June 2017 in blog.emojipedia.org.
Yes, this is the Emojipedia blog.
Talking
about all the new emoji characters that are going to come to every device once they adopt the new Unicode standard.
Yes, which is very cool, and they have elves, which was my favourite part.
They do, and wizards.
And vampires. And ghouls.
Yes.
And mermaids and mermen.
Zebra? And giraffe?
I can't believe they didn't have a zebra before.
No, it's hard to believe, isn't it?
I mean, why would you leave out a zebra? It's one of the kind of iconic, I want to say, savannah animals. Don't really know.
Yeah.
It's one of those lot.
I guess it is hard because there's a lot of emoji, but there's so many more things in the world than there are emoji. So they're still adding some fairly obvious ones, along with some less obvious ones.
Do you think at any point we'll hit a critical point where we've actually emojied everything?
I doubt we'll get to everything, but probably just about everything. Like, you'll have to really go out of your way to find something that isn't.
Okay, so not talking about abstract concepts or anything like that, just
No.
physical things.
Yeah, your standard physical objects, I'd say just about everything will be represented. If they carry on at this pace, because look how many things they've added, and this happens every year, and so the pace isn't slowing down.
Do they have dragons? There's a dinosaur there.
Probably.
Gee, there's a bit of an African theme going on this year. I think there's a... Oh no, I thought it was a gazelle. It's actually a cricket.
I thought that was a gazelle too.
But actually, there is still a tiny bit of an African theme because there's a giraffe and a...
Oh my goodness, when it's small, it looks so much like a gazelle, and then you zoom in,
Yeah.
it's like, it's a cricket.
I actually thought it was a pair of gazelle, but no, cricket. It's all very good. I thought they had pie already, but maybe they had a slice of pie as opposed to a whole pie.
Yeah. And they've got a sled, a bit of a winter theme as well, with gloves, socks. One of those things you used to play, that game that I can't remember the name of. The winter one where you slide the thing along ice.
Snowboarding?
No.
Tobogganing?
No. You know, you gotta... It's sort of like bowls on ice.
Oh, yeah, now I can't remember the name of it. Yeah. The one where they scrub the ground in front of the slidey thing. That is actually a very hilarious sport, I have to say. How do you get into something like that? That's my question. At what point in your life do you decide, right, I want to stop living a normal person's life and become a professional? Because, I mean, fair enough if you're the one throwing the slidey thing. But what if you're the person that sits in front of it scrubbing it? How do you get to that point in your life?
Yeah. Just so good at sweeping. Curling.
Right? Curling, yeah.
Curling.
I don't want to be the main curl person. I want to be the sweeper. That's my goal.
Well, I mean, that's one way to get to the Olympics.
Yeah, hey, I mean, if you're in the Olympics, you're in the Olympics.
Yes.
Yeah. Everything to be proud of there. I'm not saying there isn't, but I just wonder how it comes about. I suppose life just takes you down strange paths, doesn't it?
I can't believe they didn't have broccoli before. It's a pretty standard vegetable.
Well, I think it's a lot more standard in some places than it is in others. And you know what else it is? It's a white person vegetable. Without being racist at all, but I feel like it really is. Every white person who's grown up has had to endure broccoli.
They don't use it much in Asia?
I
feel like it's a thing we use when we make Asian-y things, but maybe it's like a substitute for something else and they don't actually really use it.
Well, you know how you can buy Chinese broccoli in the store? You see, it's not that they don't use it, but I just don't think it's as much of a staple for them as it is for us.
Yeah. Probably right.
Oh, look, I could be terribly wrong here. But, yeah. Maybe it's not a white person vegetable. Maybe I'm just another white person coming along claiming things that, aren't really mine.
What are the ones where they're like, it sort of looks like they're steamy and they're holding spoons?
Oh.
Are they like showering? Is it like a steam bath?
Well, you do use a spoon in the steam bath, but...
It just looks really, really weird. It's like they're eating...
You're right, actually. It's incredibly weird.
It's like they're eating soup and it's just like super steamy, but also without clothes on.
Yeah, they don't have clothes on, exactly. It must be a steam bath. It'd have to be. Crazy face, shushing face. Bearded person, mer person. Person in a steamy room.
In a steamy room. Okay, well that's even more vague, but okay. See, if it was going to be a steam bath, I'd like have maybe hot coals with steam coming off it or something.
Yeah, it really does look like they're just having a bowl of soup, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's nice soup.
Incredibly hot, or it's just incredibly cold in wherever they are, but they don't have clothes on, so they're trying to stay warm.
Can I just make a point about that, actually? You don't want to have a metal spoon in a steam bath.
Why is that?
Because, well, the metal just heats up too much. That's why they have the wooden seats, and usually you'd have a wooden spoon, and that's what you'd use to ladle the water over the coals. Yeah, no, very, very poorly designed emoji.
Yes, well, there's a flaw in that then.
Yeah.
We'll have to write to the Unicode Consortium.
Exactly. Who do we write to? And who decided on this? Who actually submits their designs for these things?
It's a bit of a process. I don't really know who initiates it, but at some point the Unicode Consortium takes all the suggestions and then suggests they think they're going to include. And then they run it past a whole bunch of major stakeholders, which includes a lot of the bigger tech companies, Apple, Google, Microsoft, etc. And if they have any really strong objections or they really, really want something added, then they have a chance to say so. And then the Unicode Consortium will go back and maybe make a few adjustments. That's pretty rare, though. Usually they just go, yeah, that's fine, and then they implement it. But how they actually decide in the first place, maybe it's just a round table of the various people that work at the consortium.
Oh, cool. Well, there you go. It's so interesting that it's such an involved process for emojis. Do you know another of your articles that struck me? And I also have a story behind this as well. So the one where the Florida woman discovered a treasure trove of rare space documents, which was also published to The Verge on the 17th of June 2017 by Andrew Liptak.
And by the way, the links to all these will be in the show notes for those interested.
Absolutely. Yeah, so basically what happened was someone who I believe worked in the Navy stumbled upon a few documents that she recognised as being quite precious. And they were images and documents from the height of the space race. So basically, there are a few pictures, I think, of the crew of Apollo. I think it was one of the Apollo missions. And some documents around how they made the spaceships and everything like that. I think they were lying on the side of the curb, and she recognised them, and they've ended up in a museum somewhere. But what it made me think of is, obviously, I mean, I don't think anyone really needs me to tell them this, that a lot of the time, if you look through people's trash, or if you go to the tip or anything, there's a lot of valuable stuff there.
There is, yeah. So much gets chucked out these days.
Well, it's true, it does. And I actually remember hearing from somebody about how someone's family made a habit of going dumpster diving, which is a term I've heard of, but I've never actually really associated it with the activity of going through dumpsters and sorting out, finding valuables in it and utilizing those things, I suppose. Which is probably not something I would do, but I could see that going through rich neighborhoods. I know that often if you go through a rich neighborhood in Sydney, you'll just be able to pick up furniture at the side of the road and furnish your house.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. There's a op shop right near me, and I live in Armadale, which is a fairly well-to-do area. And some of the stuff that goes through there, it's not what you would expect in an op shop. Let me tell you that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why you should always go op shopping in rich areas.
Yes.
They're the places that get all the good stuff.
I have to say, I always enjoyed going to the tip shop. Whenever Dad would go take stuff to the tip, we'd often come back with more than we took.
Yeah. It's easy to do.
Got some sweet Lego wheels there one time. Really massive Lego Technic wheels. That I've never seen before or since, but they were genuine Lego. They were from a really old set, I think. Yeah.
I always think that if I ever get a bicycle, I'll just go down to the tip and get one.
Yeah, probably a good idea. They always had so many at the Castlemaine tip.
Yeah.
So many parts.
Yeah. Wheels, bicycles, you get it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just one of the perks of living in a rich country, I suppose. A rich, wasteful country. How's your old grow going?
Ah, very nice. You heard me sipping away, did you?
I did hear you sipping away, yes. I actually had Earl Grey this morning. And I'm not usually a huge Earl Grey guy. I like kind of stronger teas. but it was a French Earl Grey from T2, and it was really nice. I think it had maybe bits of peach blossom in it. It smelled delicious. I've got to say I prefer my teas with milk, and shamefully enough, and I know that this is going to be a great point of contention for a lot of people, but I enjoy my tea with sugar as well.
Ooh. I do like it with milk too, but for black teas especially, I like it without. But yeah, in terms of the sugar, I think that's a bit controversial. I always had sugar when I was little, but since I moved away from it, I think it's better without.
Do you know, I think my problem is probably just my sweet tooth. Do you know another thing that I saw tech-wise that interested me a bit? And I didn't realize this, and I'm sure that you've probably actually told me this. With Google's phone, the Pixel, the Google Pixel phone, you get unlimited storage space for your photos.
Ah, right, yes.
Which I think is a really clever idea. Like, I mean, it's just a neat selling point to have with your phone.
But with Google Photos, you already get unlimited space. No, let me finish. If you want to have all your photos stored at a slightly, well, for almost everyone at this point, a slightly lower resolution than your phone will take pictures of, you can store unlimited photos. That's true of everyone using Google Photos as a service. What owning a Pixel does, or paying, allows you to store unlimited photos at whatever resolution they were taken at. So that's the advantage there.
Right, okay. That's cool. That's really cool, actually.
Yeah, it is cool. But even at the compressed rate, it's still a great service to have unlimited backup of your photos. And I would recommend anyone that cares about their photos probably join Google Photos, unless maybe you're using Apple system. But anyone on an Android phone, seriously, make sure your photos are being backed up to Google. Because then you just don't have to think about it as a backup. That's done.
Yeah, it's actually genius.
And I also sometimes really like the little assistant things that they give you. Most of them are not great, but occasionally you get one and you go, oh, you've actually done a good job there. Of either stitching together multiple photos into a panorama, applying an effect, or making a little animation out of a bunch of them.
Did you see the animation I sent you? That was a Google thing.
Of the dog? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was cool. Yeah, that sort of stuff. Like, it adds value. Maybe it's not the best thing in the world, but for something that's automatic, you'd take that. And for free.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Goes without saying. Just a bit conscious of my roast. Doing a lamb tonight.
Lamb roast?
A lamb roast. So tonight's roast is lamb. There are some baby carrots on the side in the pan with the roast.
Dutch
and
carrots?
These ones aren't Dutch carrots. They're just plain baby carrots.
Okay.
It's actually basically the same concept as the last lamb roast, but I think we had roast potatoes last time, and these ones will be mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
So it's plain potato and sweet potato mash.
Okay.
Which is freaking delicious.
Sounds very nice.
And I think just a red wine sauce for tonight. If I can get it right. Red wine sauce isn't easy, actually.
No? What's the process for that?
Well, it's just basically reducing some red wine with some other stuff. But I don't know. The last one I did, there's actually a lot of sugar in with some red wine. Just reduced it with some salt and pepper, and that one was just way too sweet. I did a lot better one actually before, where it was diced onion, garlic, salt and pepper in with some red wine. But I didn't really get that one to thicken very well, so it was actually just more of a jus, I guess is the word for it.
Yeah, okay. So it's more about getting the ratios right, because you lose a lot of the liquid as you're reducing down. It's very concentrated.
Well, that's it. Yeah. But one step at a time, I guess.
Thanks again for joining me this week, Alex.
Not a problem. Pleasure as always, David.
You can follow us on Twitter at Tangential Soup if you want to get in touch with us. You could also join the newly appointed Slack channel that your mother has joined, I see, Alex. which is excellent.
I'm so glad that I can contribute my mum's support to this podcast.
Yes, she's very helpful. You can support us on Patreon if you would so like, and we will see you again next week. Bye, Alex.
Ciao. I think I'm actually getting to the point where I might also almost have our opening dialogue, or at least the bones of it. It still needs some work. Tense, I think, is something I've never even thought about before, but I was told you have to stick with one tense. So I think I've changed tense a bit, so I need to work on that.
That's okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, for consistency's sake, I think one is best. Unless there's a clear paradigm shift.
Yeah.
Then maybe you could make it work.
I think I've just got to get my head around the idea of tense not being related to description style. Like if you're narrating something.
If this is the opening part, then it could either be past or present tense, right? But then for most of the rest of it, you would want present tense, I would say.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like it's unfolding in front of you.
Yes.
Yeah. But if it's a setup, it could potentially be past tense. Especially if you're describing, the history of how you got to this point in an accelerated fashion.
Yeah.
Which I honestly haven't really read what you've done. I've been so bad. And I think Axeman has too. We're really letting you down all of a sudden.
No, that's fine. You don't have to... Honestly, you guys don't have to read it. It's not necessary that you read it for it to be complete.
No, but it would potentially help, even if it's just a few points here and, a different voice.
Oh, no, absolutely. I can see where you're coming from. But I think at the moment, I'm not even at the point where I've really reached any exhaustive limit or anything like that.
Yeah,
I've just been jotting a bit of stuff down every now and again.
Has your new phone helped? It seems like your rate has accelerated.
Yeah, I've been pretty good actually recently. I think I did it 2 or 3 weeks, 2 or 3 days last week.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's above my normal rate, but I'm actually enjoying it, to be honest. I mean, not that I'm putting hours in, or even hour. Probably maybe no, not even hour.
No, well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. See, I thought you possibly would if you have fun with it, and I always maintain that you're a good writer, even though I really have no evidence for that.
I don't think anybody has any evidence for that.
Maybe I just feel like you should be because you're very creative and imaginative, I feel.
Yeah.
And your mother is an editor, so...
Well, yeah, I'm not sure if that's a genetic thing that gets passed down. But,
no.
I actually feel that the story is coming together a lot better than I could have possibly imagined. And I think that's something that's definitely struck me. And I'm not saying it's good in any way, but certainly it's exceeded my expectations.
Which is marvelous.
So Samantha has obviously worked quite a lot in English literature, and she teaches as well the English language. So, and she's actually written. Have I told you about her game that she's made?
No, not at all.
Oh, so she with 2 of her friends created a group called T for 3 Studios, and they made this game called Regency Love. And if you look it up on iTunes, they've actually done very well out of it.
T for 3. Is that what you said? Is that like tea is in the beverage?
Yes.
Here we go.
And the game is called Regency Love.
That's cool.
It's like I think kind of almost a dating app, where you've got to woo men as a lady living in the Regency period, I believe. And obviously I think Samantha did all the writing for it.
Oh, nice.
And someone did the development of the app, and then the third person did the artwork. I'm not sure if there was any crossover there, but
it's like exactly what we're trying to do. Well, not exactly, but
well, to a very large extent, yes, yeah. It is. Yeah. And yeah, I think they've been quite successful. Obviously, due to their talent,
Yes.
it's not an easy thing to do.
That's really cool. Are they working on anything more, or is it just sort of a one-time deal?
No, they are. I think they're going to do an update for the game.
Yep.
And I'm not sure if it's going to be the whole group, but I think maybe Samantha. I'm not sure if it's Samantha alone or Samantha with one of the other people, or perhaps Samantha with both of them, was going to do a dating app as well. But Samantha's actually also in the process of writing a novel based on the game and the characters in the game.
That's really awesome.
Yeah, it is. Very talented.
So is that inspiring you to do more, is it, Alex?
No, not at all. It's actually really funny though. That we started this I think slightly before I met her.
Yes.
And yeah, it's.
And then you described that, and she's like, "Oh, I've already done that."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, she actually told me that she was doing it first, or that she had done it first. Rather.
Okay. You're like,
I just kind of kept my mouth shut about the game for a little while, but I have now told her.
Does look like they've got a lot of reviews and things.
Yeah, they have, and it's very highly reviewed as well.
Oh wow, they're even on Polygon.